Well, hello, everyone tuning in. My name is Laura Leese, and I am a spiritual director. And today I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Susan Shloss, who is the first ever certified money coach who I've ever known. I've been reading her material, came through a kind of a collection of other folks I know, and I just really love her material. And I actually said to her last week, I unsubscribe from stuff all the time, but I have not done that with your stuff, Susan. The way you write, I can feel the soul coming through in your material, and it's just so encouraging. So I was thrilled that you were interested in doing this little interview with me today for people to get to know you and what you are offering to our planet. So Susan, if you can share more with us about who you are and how you got into this world of certified money coach.
Thank you so much, Laura, for that beautiful introduction. I so appreciate it. I became a money coach 6 years ago, and it wasn't something that I ever thought I'd get into in my younger adult years or my childhood. I was always a very creative person and a musician. I loved to sing and do art, and always very spiritual. And somehow one thing led to another, and I got into the financial arena and a series of work situations where I learned a lot about all different aspects of financial. And then I started my own bookkeeping business that was very successful and had 7 years of 6-figure income from that, had a staff, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't my passion. So this thing of money coaching started to tap on my shoulder probably 5 years before I actually got certified. I really wanted to clean up my own situation first. And so once my debts were paid off and I felt like I was in a stable place, I looked for a certification, and I found the Money Coaching Institute that felt really aligned for me. And I did their certification with Deborah Price. And it really gave me a turnkey system for working with people that I've been able to use as part of my framework, and then add to it and bring in the spirituality, bring in the creativity, and really make it my own. And I just love helping people to overcome some of their anxieties, their avoidance, their challenges when it comes to money.
Yeah, excellent. And so, Susan, how would you say you might differ from other folks who are also money coaches?
Well, there are a few things. One is that I bring a very strong spiritual element into it. I've been a meditator since I was 12. And that's a very long time now. So I bring the meditation into it. And when I'm working with people one-to-one, I do intuitively guided meditations to work on things on a deeper level, on the unconscious level. So I think that is unique. And I also bring some social justice elements to it. That consciousness of we all come from different backgrounds, and some of our money patterns could be influenced by systemic racism or poverty, classism issues, being part of an underserved community. So having done a lot of work around that myself and understanding it and unpacking my own colonization, I feel like I can hold a space for people who may have some of that in their background, but I've also learned that you really can't assume anything. And each person is so unique. And it's really beautiful to get to know people and what makes them tick, and to tune in intuitively to what their needs might be to make the shift that they want to make.
Beautiful. I so appreciate how you bring in the spiritual and the social justice piece with money. I don't think this is something most of us would tend to think that there's any connection. So Susan, can you share with us when you work with someone, you thought it went really well for that client? Yeah.
my friend Katie, who had the really serious avoidance anxiety issues around money, very, very intense. I mean, just standing in line to pay for something, she could have like an anxiety attack.
Okay.
So she went through the program with me, and she worked with me for, I would say, a year and a half in a regular program. She still works with me occasionally. And she really was able to get into a place of empowerment with dealing with her numbers, setting up the systems that I've created for people to do that tracking and look at some of the trauma piece as well. And she was able, by the end of the program, to buy her own condo. And that takes a lot of grown-up steps, big decisions. So she's been able to really step into a place of empowerment with her money.
That's beautiful. I'm so grateful for the encouragement for those who might be tuning in, that there is always hope, and there's a kind of a roadmap that you are experienced with and walking alongside folks. So I know one question that other folks who might have their own small business might be wondering is, so what was that like for you? What challenges you faced, and how you've gotten to the place where now you're helping others who might also be in a business for themselves?
Yes. So really coming to that realization that what I was doing wasn't enlivening for me. And then taking bold steps to change it. The first bold step I took was to take over the lease at the place I was living in as a housemate, so that I could then have a home office. And I work really well that way, where I can be in a flow of self-care and work. And that's one of the foundations of what I do with my clients as well, is the self-care piece. And so really having that, the self-employment was super helpful to take care of my health, and taking those bold steps, having a support network that could help me walk through some of that, then hiring my first employee, which was very scary, and learning the lessons around that of letting go of control. And I've had people working for me for years now, for probably the last, 15 or so years. And really learning how to let them be them. They may have strengths that I don't have. So really embracing their approach to things, rather than feeling like I have to micromanage and know that, well, I can do this more efficiently. Well, maybe efficiency isn't that person's strength. It's always been my strength. But maybe it's not the most important thing. Maybe it's important to have someone who can dig into all those details. So I learned so much about that with the bookkeeping business. And then with the money coaching business, marketing is a whole new world. When you're in a coaching business, and I'd never had to market as a bookkeeper. I always had referrals, which is my favorite way to get money coaching clients as well. And I have just become so much more visible. I've learned how to be myself more in the public eye. And it gets to be really fun after a while to find my voice, to find creative ways of expressing it. And it is a spiritual journey. I could write a whole book on business as a spiritual path.
Amen. I think that's kind of my tagline to this whole world of entering your own work, established company or organization. This is a journey, a spiritual journey in itself, the business side of it. So I so appreciate your saying that. Amen to that. So you mentioned earlier, Susan, the social justice arena. Can you tell us how you entered that area for yourself?
Like so many people, I had my wake-up call in 2020 with the murder of George Floyd. And so many, not just white people, but probably largely white people, woke up to the suffering that had been going on for so many years in this country in particular. And that inspired me to start a White Awake group with 5 of us, white women. And we did some reading together. Me and White Supremacy was the book that we were going through, which was a little controversial because it's very, very direct. But I feel that it really points out all the things we need to know about that are harmful. So that was my primer, I would say. And then reading novels by Black authors and watching all the possible movies and TV shows and just really immersing myself in the culture as much as I could, taking programs as well, taking classes, working with coaches. And then realizing that I wanted to integrate that into my business. And that's been very recent, really, that I've been finding a way to do that. I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable with it in the last week or two, I would say.
Wow, that's amazing. And so how does that tie in with the work you do?
As I think I mentioned earlier, that maybe I didn't, but when we're talking about money, to recognize that some of the issues come from these institutionalized problems,
Yes.
And so recognizing that. And then I also did a symposium, in other words, a summit called Money, Justice, and Spirituality. And I have to say that all of this has been a calling for me. It's just been something that I've been guided to do. With that symposium, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had attended many summits, and it was extremely creative. And it was really gratifying to interview many people of all different backgrounds and cultures and talk about these areas of money, justice, and spirituality. And then I've continued to do some events along those lines as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Susan. I'm curious, do you want to share any more about your own spiritual journey?
Spirituality has been so central for me for so long, starting really officially, I'd say at the age of 12, when I took out a book from the library called The 7 Steps to Higher Consciousness by Gerald Jampolsky. And then when I was 15, I got a copy of Be Here Now by Ram Dass, which was very popular back then. And I was in a group of friends who were really inspired by him. And I started doing the yoga practice that was written out in that book, started doing the mantra. I then, and I had a spiritual awakening. I wanted everyone to know about this path. Hey, everybody, check this out. You can be happy. I kind of became a little evangelical at 15.
Yeah.
And then I became part of an ashram community in my 20s. I lived in ashrams a couple times, really immersed myself in the practices and the service, chanting, meditation, and became one of the speakers for a while, which gave me some skills. I kind of grew up in a way in that environment. And then God said, okay, you're out of here. Go take the grace out into the world. So that's what I did. I got out and started doing a meditation business. It was called Practical Meditation. Part of my path has always been to bring the practical and the spiritual together. And that's why the money vehicle for transformation is so powerful. It can be super grounded and connected to source at the same time.
Indeed. And so as you do your work with folks, Susan, is there a particular framework you use regarding money?
I work with money archetypes. This is a really powerful piece of the work that I do. So for that person that I was talking about earlier who has anxiety and avoidance, that's the money innocent. That's the young part of ourselves who needs to take baby steps and build her confidence. And then there's the money fool who is very impulsive. And when people can identify these different behaviors and patterns with the money archetype, it takes it out of yourself in a way that you can look at it more objectively and get out of some of the shame, which is so much a part of this whole money conversation for people. And then we want to develop our money warrior, where you have the confidence and the discipline to deal with money. And the magician. A lot of times I find that spiritual people have not integrated their spirituality into their money. Like, I've never thought of doing that. So when we do that, that's where that ease comes from, bringing in our intuition, trusting that we're going to be taken care of. And then I have a step-by-step process where we dive into your money history and have the cathartic experience of looking at all those memories, looking at your parents' patterns, and going through a process of forgiveness around whatever it was in your childhood that affected you in a challenging way. And looking at your strengths as well. What are you bringing forward? And then from that, okay, well, this is what lights me up. So what is my purpose here? And ultimately, I feel our purpose goes back to aligning ourselves with divine will. And we're here on this earth to serve in certain ways. So we get directed to what that might look like. And then working with the numbers, getting over that resistance and finding the empowerment and the grounding that happens when we have the clarity around how much we're spending, how much we're earning. Start to develop savings if you haven't yet, and all different areas of savings, including retirement, emergency, vacations, so that you can have the lifestyle that you're envisioning. And in some cases, we might need to look at how you can make more money so that you can save, and also looking at how can you pay off your debts.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So if somebody's listening, Susan, and they say, I want to know more about this, what are some next steps they could take?
On my website, moneywisdomcoach.com, you'll find some information and some free gifts there. And you're welcome to set up a call with me if you want to find out how we can go a little deeper together. And on Saturday, the 27th, coming right up here, I will be offering an event called, it's a Money Wisdom Circle, 4 essential ingredients to transform your money patterns. And I'll be diving more deeply into some of what we've been talking about today.
Okay, excellent. So there's a particular event coming up. So if someone wanted to sign up for that, that's available. And then beyond that, you also have this website that I dove into already, just a plethora of great resources and great, wonderful blog articles. And like you said, a person could reach out and schedule a time just to chat and see if this might be a great connection point to start chatting with you further.
Yes.
Susan, is there anything else you want to share today?
Just like you said, there is hope. And I'm here for you. I would love to talk with you and help you shine some light on what some of those patterns are, what your influences are, and help you get to the other side.
Indeed. Thank you so much. And so those of you who've been tuning in, just to encourage you, there is hope, there are resources, and money, like almost everything else in life, is a very spiritual matter. So again, thank you, Susan, for your time today. And we just really bless you in your practice. We thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Laura. Bless you as well.
Thank you.